Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our virtual class, Grateful or Patience. This is me, Teacher Helen, your subject teachers in science, English, and MAPE. This week is week 4 for the third quarter, and I hope that uh, you answer your module well. If not, if you don't understand the lesson, uh, you can answer your module while listening in this class. Okay, let's start our class with a prayer. All together. Dear God, I thank you for protecting me through the night. I praise you and give you thanks for all the blessings you have bestowed on me. Lord, I give you all my words, thoughts, and actions, and consecrate them to you. Lord, may the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing to you. For you, O Lord, are my strength and my Redeemer. In Jesus' name, Amen. Okay, next we will have our pambansang awit. Put your right hand on your chest and you can sing. Okay, once again, good morning. Okay, we will start with English. Okay, our lessons in English, we have 3. We include understanding metaphor. We also have making a pictograph. And lastly, we have comparison forms of modifiers. I did not include making a pictograph because in your book it is very easy. You will just uh there is a pictograph present in your book, and then you will just directly answer the questions being asked from the pictograph. Okay, let's what I include in English is the metaphor and only the comparison forms of modifiers. So let's start with the comparison forms of modifiers. Metaphor. Okay, I see here. Metaphor. What is metaphor? It is when you compare two unlike things. Okay, again, two unlike things. Dalawang bagay na hindi magkapareho. Unlike simile, metaphor does not use like or as in making a comparison. In short, metaphor is a direct comparison. So again, hindi siya kapareho ng simile na gumagamit ng words na like and as in comparing two unlike things. Metaphor directly comparing two unlike things. Okay. I will give you how to differentiate simile from metaphor. Example of simile is her face is as pretty as flower. So it is a simile because it is using the word as. Pretty as a flower. Okay, while metaphor, example of metaphor. Merle's voice was music to his ear. So, what is the noun being compared? Merle's is a noun compared to music. So, as you can find in the sentence, it does not use like or as. So, that is a metaphor, comparing two unlike things without using like or as. Another example, Jess was a 2-ton bundle of blue dynamite. The noun being compared is Jess to dynamite. Number 3. My soul is an enchanted boat. Soul is a noun being compared to enchanted boat. Correct. Let us try. Number 1. The child was an octopus grabbing at all the cans on the grocery store shelves. Okay, what is the noun being compared to? A. Child compared to octopus, or B. Child compared to grocery store shelves. What is your answer? The correct answer is letter A. Child compared to octopus. Number 2. The pillow was a cloud when I put my head upon it after a long day. What is the noun being compared to? A. Pillow compared to head. B. Pillow compared to cloud. What is your answer? The correct answer is pillow compared to cloud. Number 3. Henry and Bernie are two peas in a pod. A. Henry and Bernie compared to pod. B. Henry and Bernie compared to peas. What is your answer? The correct answer is letter B. Henry and Bernie compared to peas. Fourth, the fluorescent light was the sun during the test. A. Fluorescent light, sun. B. Fluorescent light, test. The correct answer is letter A. Fluorescent light compared to sun. Number 5. The bar of soap was a slippery eel during the dog's bath. A. Bar of soap compared to slippery eel. B. Bar of soap compared to dog's bath. What is your answer? The correct answer is A. Bar of soap compared to slippery eel. Okay, that's all for understanding metaphor. Now let us go back to another lesson in English, which is the comparison of modifiers. Here it is. Comparison forms of modifiers. Okay, we have to read the following sentences. Please read. Stella is simply adorable. Her sister seems to be more adorable though. Her sister moves more elegantly. Stella walks briskly. Still, her sister walks better. The underlined words adorable, more elegantly, briskly, and better are examples of modifiers. In modifiers, there were 3 degrees when we compare. We have positive, second comparative, and the third is superlative. What is positive form? It shows no comparison. The modifier is in the base form. Indeed, it is only one thing that do not need comparison. While in comparative form, it compares two. So there were two objects or two things to be compared. While in the superlative form, it compares 3 or more less. So in this section, there were 3 or more things that you are going to compare. Generally, the way a modifier forms the comparative and superlative depends on the number of syllables the modifier has. So, when you say number of syllables, okay, syllaba sa Tagalog, bibilangin natin. Dahil magdidepende kung ano ang gagamitin natin na modifier. Number 1, most one syllable. Modifiers form the comparative and superlative degrees by adding ER and EST. So, it is very easy. In one syllable modifiers, you will just add ER and EST. For example, fast becomes, in comparative form, it will become faster. And in superlative form, it will become fastest. Again, fast, faster, fastest. Another word, cheap, cheap, cheaper, cheapest. Correct. Number 2, some 2-syllable modifiers form the comparative and superlative degrees with ER and AST. So, ER and EST again, but it is 2-syllable modifiers. For example of 2-syllable is lonely. Okay, it will become lonelier to loneliest. The comparative form of lonely is lonelier, and the superlative form of lonely is loneliest. Another word, I will give you the base form, scary. It will become scarier, scariest. Correct. Number 3, other 2-syllable modifiers form the comparative and superlative degrees by using more and most. So in this case, these are the irregular modifiers. That is why we will use more and most, because it is not applicable to irregular modifiers. For example, careful, is equals to more careful and most careful. Second, careful is equals to carefullier and carefulliest, which is the correct of the two. That's right. The first one is correct. Careful, in comparative form, it will become more careful. And in superlative form, it will become most careful. The second one is wrong. Carefullier and carefulliest is the wrong thing. Number 4. Modifiers that have 3 or more form the comparative and superlative degrees with more and most. Okay. For example, tenderly is equals to more tenderly and most tenderly. Second, tenderly is equals to tenderlier and tenderliest, which is correct of the two. That's right. The first thing is correct. Tenderly, in comparative form, it will become more tenderly, and in superlative form, it will become most tenderly. It is incorrect when we say tenderlier and tenderliest. The fifth one, the last, is the few modifiers forms the comparative and superlative degrees in other ways. These are the irregular modifiers. So these are example of irregular modifiers. We have positive, comparative, and superlative. Bad, worse, worst. Good, better, best. Well, better, best. So good and well is same based forms sila. Then same pud sila og comparative and superlative forms. Many, much, many, more, most, much, more, most, and far, far, farthest, farther, farthest. So those are example of irregular modifiers. We do not need add them, add uh, er and est because they are irregular. Okay, that's all for English. Now let's go to your another subject, which is the MAPE. Okay, let's go to your MAPE. Okay, in your MAPE, our lesson is all about music. We only have music this week, but we have 2 lessons. It's all about vocal sounds and instrumental sounds. Okay. Have you tried to watch a musical show or a concert or a live band? I guess that you already watch live band because there are many in Anda. In resorts in Anda, some resorts have their live band every Saturday or Friday nights. Okay, do you enjoy watching it? Jam, unwinding. Okay, can you describe the quality of their voices? Okay, we have different human voices, right? Soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. Okay, the human voice consists of sounds made by a human being using the vocal folds for talking and singing. So in music, we have vocal sounds, we have solo, duet, and trio. So solo is an Italian term which means alone in is a section of piece sung by a single performer. So, for example, I will let you sing Ara, can you please you will render a solo performance, solo song rendition for this coming Valentine's Day, and then you will ask and you will answer your teacher na, no teacher, duha man mi teacher kami ni Syra Jane Ella nga ang kanta. And what do you call that? Is that a solo performance? Okay, no. That will become a duet. Okay, again, solo is performed by only one singer. And when there are two performers that have an equal role or position in the piece, it is called duet. Kung dance po ang inyong i-present, kung sayaw din ang inyong i-present, it can be called as duet, duo, dual performance. Okay, in this case, we talk about vocal sounds. So, when we talk about two performers, it is often called as duet. And what about three? Kapag tatlo na ang kumakanta, three different sounds or voices to make a melodious music or song, it is now called trio. Trio na siya. Again, we have three types of vocal sounds: solo, duet, and trio. So in this section, you have a performance task. You will perform a solo performance because we don't have face-to-face classes. So you are going to sing a song. You will choose your own song. You will take a video, upload it in our FB group. Thank you in advance. It will be graded, of course. Now let's have instrumental sounds. So instrumental sounds, what are those? So the sound of an object depends upon the thickness and thin and also the sizes of the instruments. Timbre makes music appealing to the listeners because of the beautiful sound the different musical instruments produce. So what are those musical instruments? They are divided into four. First is the string instruments. Second is the woodwind instruments. The third is brass instruments. And the fourth are percussion instruments. So let me introduce to you the string instruments. These are violin, viola, cello, and double bass. So in these string instruments, they make sounds by vibrating the strings on it. So it is usually play soft notes, especially the violin. I would like to play a violin. How about you? Now we have the woodwind instruments. It includes flute, oboe, clarinet, and bassoon. Also, the saxophone belongs to this category. These instruments are played by blowing through a reed or by buzzing into a metal mouthpiece. The brass and other instruments are the brass. Okay, it includes the trumpet, trombone, tuba, French horn, and sax horn. These instruments produce sounds by placing the lips on the mouthpiece and by blowing while vibrating the lips. So, mostly brass instruments. You can see this during when there are drum and lyre corps. They use brass instruments to make the sound melodious and good to listen. So iba iba ang drum and lyre corps na gumagamit ng trumpet, trombone at tuba. Maganda pakinggan. Okay, the last family is the percussion instruments. These instruments produce sound by being struck, scraped by a beater, by the hand, or by another similar instrument. Okay, example for this is drum set, snare drum, timpani, xylophone, tambourine, cymbals, and triangle. So that's all for the different categories or families of musical instruments. So there are many, right? There are many, and it produces sounds differently. So imagine how the musicians, how the creator of these instruments made them to produce different kinds of music. Uh, each of the instruments has a different role to play. So just like in your family, you and me, your classmates, each member also has a different rules to play. Each one differs in personality, strengths, and weaknesses, but together makes the family happy, strong, and harmonious relationship. Okay, that's all for MAPE. Now I will introduce to you to our next subject, which is science, and it's all about light energy. Okay, are you excited? I like this topic, light energy. Okay. Light energy Ta-da! Okay. Light energy. Light. Okay, in this lesson, you are going to tell what light is or what light energy is, describe the properties of light, describe the characteristic and importance of light, identify the kinds of materials that behave differently when exposed to light, and describe ways to protect yourself from exposure to excessive light. Okay, what is light? It's a form of energy that allows you to see the things around you. So, we have five senses. So, in this section, we will use our sense of sight to see the light, to see the beautiful creatures in the world. So, on the earth, the main source of light is the sun. This one, the sun. Light energy comes from the sun is called radiant energy. Ta-da! That is sunset or sunrise. So you'll be the one to guess if that is sunset or sunrise. Okay, prism. Why we include prism? Okay, when the sun is out and raindrops falls on the ground, what do you see in the sky? So you see a rainbow. Since light interacts, a rainbow forms when raindrops acts as a prism. So, raindrops acts as a prism. Naigo si raindrops sa light and it will separates light into a band of colors, which is the rainbow. So, prism is a glass or other clear object that separates light into a band of colors. So what are the 7 visible colors coming from the light? The light can be divided into 7 visible colors. We have the ROY-G-BIV. It is an acronym for red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Okay. People are similar to light. In that way, they give off can be reflected back to them. Once you show a cheerful appearance to other people, once you are happy, some of the people sees you smiling or happy, they reflect your actions and also feel cheerful and happy when they encounter others. So, kung mag-smile ka, mag-smile po na sila nimo. Pero pag sad po ka, sad po ilang pagtanaw nimo. So, how important is light? Light is important to plants. If there was no light, plants would not grow. So, just look at the picture. Plant needs light to grow. Not only water, not only soil, nutrients from the soil. Plants also need sunlight to make their own food, to process what we call the photosynthesis. So, and also, if there were no plants, there will be no food for both humans and animals. Therefore, without light, there will be no life on Earth. So that's how essential the light is. Okay, now I will introduce to you the characteristics of light. So there are 7, so let us discuss this one by one. First characteristics of light is light travels in a straight line. Okay, as from the picture, you see a boy standing we have morning, noon, and afternoon. Shadows at different times of a day. So in morning and in afternoon, as you can see that you get a bigger shadow. Why? Because the light is inclined towards the boy. No, inclined man na ana sa kilid mo na nga ma-elongated pud ang shadow. While the noon time, as you can see, that the shadow formed is shorter than as you do. Why? Because you are parallel to the sunlight or the sun rays. That is why shadow forms shorter than your numerical height. Shadows are formed when light from a source blocked by an object. The position of the light source in relation is that of an object determines the direction and the size of shadow of an object. And also, we have another characteristics. The light passes through materials in different ways. So we have 3 types of materials: the transparent, the translucent, and the opaque. Transparent materials, also known as clear materials. In these materials, all light will pass through. Common examples of objects that are made of transparent are glass windows, clear drinking glasses, water, and clear plastic. So, yan ang mga halimbawa ng mga transparent na materials. Lahat ng light o liwanag ay makalalagpas. Next, we have translucent glass. Some materials allow some amount of light to pass through. In translucent glass, only some amount, a little amount lang ang of light to pass through. For example is uh, sliding windows color black, sunglasses, thin paper also is also a translucent material. So why is it sunglasses is a translucent materials? Because it can be used as to protect as protection for our eyes when we are directed to the sun. So those are translucent materials. And lastly, we have opaque materials or object. Opaque does not allow any light. No light can pass through. So example for this is wood, notebooks, plate, walls in our house. So what will happen to the light when they reflect to opaque materials? So the light will scattered. Scattered lang ang light. Okay, light can be produced. Okay, light can be produced by what we call luminous light source. So we have two light sources. There's our luminous light source and non-luminous light source. Luminous light source, which means it produces its own light. They can make their own light. Example, sun, candle, gas tube, and light bulb. So those are example of luminous light source. What about non-luminous light source? They are dependent to luminous light source. Example for this is moon. That is non-luminous light. Moon has no light. Exactly. So it is the best example for non-luminous light source. There also an insect produces its own light. Hence, it is a living luminous light source. We called it firefly. Have you seen firefly during nighttime? Firefly watching in Luwai. Light is reflected. Example for this? Why is light reflect? Because the light enters our eyes and it will be reflected by a barrier. We called it a mirror. And when we look to a mirror, kung ano ang nakikita natin sa ating mata, and when we face it to a mirror, the light will be reflected. That is why we can see ourselves on a mirror. A reflection of a mirror is an example of non-luminous light source, which means does not give light on its own but instead reflects light from a luminous source. So moon is the best example. We have this refraction. So example of refraction, it is mostly happen in water. You may try this at home. Get a glass of water, transparent glass of water, then fill it with water and put your pencil on the water. Then you can see that there is a bending of light happens. So, imbis na straight line siya, the bottom part which is filled in the water bent or refracted. So, umiba ang kanyang anggulo. Change in angle and change in direction. That is refracted. So, I will show to you an example of refraction later. Or else you can also do that activity in your home. Again, you will just get a glass of water, fill it water, and put your pencils on. Another characteristic of light has varying levels of brightness. Okay, the unit that describes the brightness of light is called candela. The higher the candela, the brighter the light. So example for this is lamp. So lamp has low candela because it can only light a small space. So what about the big bulbs? Kanang big bulbs nga used by gymnasium, used by hospitals. So their light source has a greater or higher candela because they need a brighter light to see objects clearly. And lastly, light can be hot or cool. Why? Of course, temperature of the colors of light also increases from red to violet. So, um, cool is red. Red is the coolest, and blue is the hottest. So, recall the acronym Roy G. Biv. So, the least amount of heat is color red, and the highest amount of heat belongs to blue, indigo, and violet. So, as the image you see are the pictures of a gas tube fire. You can see three colors. We have the blue, white, and red. No, blue, white, and red. Blue is the hottest, whereas red is the coolest. Same rule applies to stars. Red stars are cooler than blue stars. So, example, lightning. Have you seen lightning during when where there is thunderstorm? Lightning. So, it is the strongest light source. Now, what is the color of lightning? It is color violet. So, recall the Roy G. Biv. Violet is the last, nasa highest peak ang violet. So, it is the hottest. The blue, the indigo, and the violet. But most of all, which is not in Roy G. Bib's spectrum, the hottest color of light is color white. Of course, because those band of colors comes from color white. Roy G. Bib comes from the color of light, which is white. This time, how will you protecting yourself from excessive light? How will you protect yourself? Okay, very good. Wear sunglasses when the sun is bright. And we also have artificial lights comes from gadgets. What you are going to do is to limit the use of gadgets because gadgets like cell phones, TVs, laptops, tablet, produces blue rays, blue light rays. So imagine class, recall again the Roy-G-Viv. So blue is one of the hottest light, the hottest color of light. So imagine when you are using gadgets all the time, what will happen to your eyes? Huh? It will strain your eyes, and worst, you will be blind. So as at early age, as you are still young, minimize or limit yourself using gadgets. Okay, ways that you can do to get enough rest at night and protect your body from harmful effects of lights. So during the day, make sure to get enough natural light. So what are those natural light? Comes from the sun. So enough lang, dili directly. Next is keep the lights in the house dim at night. So kapag matatakutin, turn on lights. Pero kapag hindi matatakutin, turn off the lights so that you can rest and protect your body from harmful effects. Lastly, as what I have said, limit your use of gadgets. In these ways, it is best to stop using gadgets 1 hour before bedtime to get your eyes ready for sleep. So, those are the ways that you can do to protect your body from lights, natural lights and artificial lights. Again, natural lights comes from the sun, artificial lights comes from the gadgets. So that's all. Thank you for listening and continue answering your mood, Bioy.